If you're doing multifamily, like what you're doing, you're busy right now because all those developers have to finish their projects, right? They already have on the way, but I mean, just the cost of construction is super high, land's expensive. So if you're looking at commercial, multifamily is going to be a little rough, but even residential, we're starting to see a pullback as well. That's already happening.
So today we have Bryan Gorrita, and he's on the pod, and we're talking about everything real estate, everything construction, and you already started talking about a couple of things, and I really appreciate you being on the pod. Everybody kind of knows you as the guy on Instagram taking selfies, giving updates on projects, but we'll talk about that. But why don't you just introduce yourself a little bit and tell everybody who you are?
Thank you. So my name is Bryan Gorrita. That was actually a pretty nice intro. I'm a land broker, so I focus on land, working with different clients, doing assemblages, ground up development, doing multifamily deals. Right now, I'm actually doing a few other interesting deals right now. And that's pretty much what I do here in South Florida. And I cover from West Palm all the way down to here to Miami-Dade, but I'm going to other parts of Florida. But yeah, that's pretty much what I do.
So how did your videos start? Like, how was the first day you took a video on Instagram? Was that intentional, or like, talk to us about the video and how did that start?
So, it's an interesting story because the content journey wasn't a year, right? It wasn't an overnight success. I was doing content probably for like 4 years trying to figure it out, right? But in between here and then. And then at some point I was like, look, let me just start working seriously on what I'm doing, right? Like, let me take this a little more serious. Let me be more honest with my work, right? And I think sometimes when you're doing content, it's great if you're putting things out there. I think that's the hardest part, right? Just to be consistent and have the public opinion criticize you, right? I'm sure when people, were looking at my videos, especially people who knew me, I'm sure they're like, what the heck is he doing, right? So I think that's the first thing, getting the fear out. And then at one point, I was like, man, my videos are not moving. I'm getting only 100 views, 200 views. I'm like, what's up with this? Is this real? But I believed, right? I was like, hey, look, I know it's possible. I'm seeing people. I'm just going to keep doing it. And then one day I was like, all right, look, there's some interesting projects here. I know it. I know the people that are involved. Let me give it some love, right? And that's when I started really critiquing my work. And I was like, man, you know what? Like, let me look at the other perspective, right? Because you see the data behind the scenes, right? And I was like, man, like the retention's terrible. It's not that good. Like, how can I make this better? So I started figuring out, hey, let's add a little B-roll. Let's do a little this, that. Let me give it real love. And then the first video that I shot, I actually deleted it because I thought it was terrible. So I went back out, drove super far. If you watch my videos, you know that I'm out there on the site. So I drove out there, shot the video again, redid it, edited it. Easily, that took some time there. And I posted it. I said, whatever, let's see what happens. And then it just started getting movement. It was like, all right, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. I was like, okay, this is cool. All right, let's see what else we can do. And then started doing videos. And then that's how it all like caught up. And then just started talking about the market, what's happening with these developments, like what is this? Like, people don't know what's happening, right? So I kind of became like a real estate journalist in a way without even thinking about it.
That's great. Do you think, is that the reason that you started taking those videos? Why did you start making those videos?
So I started doing those videos because for my business, I wanted to, get more exposure, reach more people, try to like create some type of impact, right? Like I knew social media would be a great way to connect with different people in my industry as a connector, right? So we can meet different professionals for business. And then I was like, you know what? Like I want to talk about things that are cool, right? Like I don't want to be boring. I think everybody a lot of people who get into this, they're thinking about like vanity, right?
Yeah.
Like, I sold this $50 million property. I sold this or that. Nobody cares, right? Nobody cares if you sold $50 million.
Yeah, you're like in the chisme sometimes. Like if they did like the Sunset Place one, that's like, because people remember being as a kid, kind of like your parents dropping you off at Sunset 100%. Place. And then now you're like in front of Sunset Place saying, hey, this is what's happening to Sunset Place. So it's very relatable to the developer, but it's also very relatable to everybody in Miami that's kind of in our generation.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? Like, what's really going on behind the scenes? So I guess a little background about me. So I used to work for Miami-Dade County. So I used to work in the public sector, and I would see a lot of things happening behind the scenes. I did a lot of budget. I was doing finance, procurement, and all these different things there. And I like to I try to blend all that behind that, which is to the videos that I'm doing in a sense, like the research side. Because there's so many things that we don't know, right? Like why is Sunset Place just empty, right? So then you got to go deep dive, go and do more research. What is this? Start reaching out to people and making sure that the facts are the facts and that they make sense. And maybe I'm not right on 100% of the videos, but I try to be as accurate as I can be, right?
So you spend a lot of time on the videos that you make.
Yeah, man. I spend a lot of time. I edit my own videos.
So you shoot. Is it a pure selfie?
Yeah. I have my hand out there and I'm shooting it. Straight up, yeah.
So you're holding up the phone, you're holding. Hey, I'm here in front of Sunset Place. Remember when we were 12 years old and we used to be with our friends here?
Yeah.
And then you edit the whole video and you're doing all the research. Do you feel like you've gotten a benefit from all this hard work and all the videos that you've put out?
Yeah, I think that I'm.
The reason I tell you is because people ask me, hey, do you find a benefit in your podcast? Hey, do you ever find a benefit in all the videos that John Bell Construction makes? And I always tell them, yeah, I don't know if I can tangibly say that I landed that deal because of our videos, but I feel that the more exposure that we have given ourselves have put us in a better position to maybe land the project.
I think there is a benefit, right? Like you don't have, people think that you need to be making money immediately, like monetize from YouTube or Instagram. I don't get paid from those platforms at all. And to be quite honest with you, I really don't care if I ever get paid from them, because what's important to me is crafting a story that makes sense, that resonates with people. And when people can tell very quickly if you're full of it or if you're making things up, or we can find out, right? We can Google search you, we'll see what's up. Hey, is this Oscar guy legit? What's the standing of John Bell? Like, are they good? Like, people, if they want to find out about you, they will do the research, right? So what you're doing is with the platform, you're just saying, hey, this is my expertise. This is what I do. I know what's going on. And when you put it out there, you're leaving up to the world to criticize you. They're going to pick up that video and they're going to critique it.
You also have a beautiful voice too.
Yeah. Maybe I should do an OnlyFans, right? Just whisper some ASMR,
People the other day were complaining about my voice. You have an incredible, radio voice. So what was the feedback that you got originally? How long? Well, first of all, your first video was how long ago?
Man, my first one was when I first started out, like 4 years ago. And
so what's the feedback that you got before towards the feedback that maybe you've gotten now?
Honestly, the feedback that I got when I started out, I don't think people give feedback. I don't think people want to. When you start out, right, creating content, I don't think your family's going to be 100% honest with you because they don't want to hurt your feelings or say,
you're doing a great job.
You're doing a great job. Or they look at it too, because I've had other family members that will look at the video and be like, why are you saying that? Or you mispronounced this and, what's that? At the end of the day, the biggest feedback is going to be yourself. Yeah. The audience. You're going to look and see. Like,
hey, you know what you could do better.
You could do better. And I think you need to be objective, right? Like, don't create content for other people and think that you're gonna make money from it. If you're making content to just stand in front of a house or say, hey, this or whatever, just to make money, you're going to lose. Yeah. If you go in there to create content, to tell a story, to be innovative, you're going to get people are going to want to ride with you. They're going to see what's up. And then just the biggest thing for me that helped me with my content was just being honest with it. Like if it sucked, if I would look at a video and say, man, I wouldn't want to share this with my own,
don't post it.
I'm not going to post it. No, delete it. Yeah. But remember, especially your producer over there, he'll know that, that's takes time to edit. It's very hard to go and delete one of your pieces of content, right? So
and expensive. So let me ask you a question. How do you keep up? Because one thing is the first deal that maybe you were a part of. Maybe it was another deal, but I feel like you've almost created the expectation on your social platforms and social media and Instagram and all that, where you got to kind of have to keep everybody in the loop with all these deals. Do you feel like that? Do you feel like a pressure to now you did it for one reason, but now you kind of have to do the entire gamut of South Florida and Miami-Dade County and kind of like find the deals and keep up with them so you can create the content? Do you feel like that burden a little bit?
To be honest with you, the thing is that I like what I'm talking about. And I think that's the most important thing, right? Like if you're creating content, it has to be something that you would talk about anyways. Like before this pod started, I was already talking with your team there about the real estate market. I love what I do. And I think that creating the content, it can be you're on a hamster wheel trying to keep up. But I think it's just at the end of the day, when you build a community, build an audience, if it takes now my videos take a little longer because now we're going to get a little more in depth and stuff like that. But I don't try to rush things. To be honest with you, it's right up to my schedule.
And how do you keep up with all these projects that are coming up and all these deals?
Man, honestly, it's different resources like public records, sifting through the internet, my own connections, people that I know, attorneys, bankers, deals that may not be out there yet, and maybe I hear through whispers or things like that come up. So I'm connected through different ways, right? And sometimes you'll see a deal on maybe on social media, and it's not 100% like the real story, right? Like there's so many things happening behind the scenes
That nobody knows.
And I've tried
That's usually how it is.
That's usually how it is, and especially in our business. So I try to bring out as much as I can that people don't know. Maybe
cool.
a little achievement that you said.
Yeah,
that's like, this developer.
Because like for instance, there was the project of the people from WeWork. Did you cover that?
Yeah.
But that was like a bidding war, and then it was like this person came here, and this like at the end of the day, people don't really realize how competitive this market is. People think that some trailer park got bought out by some guy. No, 4 or 5 different people were attacking this property aggressively with a lot of resources, spending a lot of money, and then you only see like, oh, these people bought it. You didn't realize the last year of due diligence that really happens, and
100%. Yeah,
people like that because they don't know that, they don't really know how difficult and how intricate construction and real estate and everything that this market really entails, especially in South Florida. This is a very, very competitive market. They just think, their grandfather owned that land and somebody gave them a loan and that building just popped out of nowhere. Like that's not really how it happens 90% of the time in our city.
No, and it's so intricate. You gotta, and that's the thing people don't know. So when I make these videos and they see like, wow, like, all right, so this is what's going on, and how much money did they get from here? How much debt? How much was the land purchased for?
So to give people very quickly, I don't want to go because I want to keep going, but give people like a kind of like a very simple scenario of a deal that they never realized how that came to be, being maybe like the Sunset Place or maybe even like the El Portaro trailer park kind of community, but. Talk to us about all the intricate parts and all the teams that are involved in making the deal.
Man, so if you're gonna make an acquisition like that, you're gonna need a great attorney, land use attorney. You're gonna have to have a great broker if you have a broker. You need to have a money guy, and you need to have people on the team that know construction, know development. So it's about getting the right people in place that are gonna help you. The biggest thing when it comes to development, it's land, and then how much it's gonna cost, and making sure that in your schedule you don't go over. Right, your time or your budget. So you gotta make sure you have a solid PM that can manage that whole entire workflow. So, because the longer it takes to build, that's more money that's coming out. Depending how your capital stack looks like, right? Like if you're too over leveraged, you could be in a very bad situation if you're not. Every delay is money, right? So, it's a long process, and then it's political because we don't think about that. You need to make sure that the commission or the council members or whoever is there, the legal bodies that govern that municipality or whatever, they got to approve it, right? Like you cannot just go and just buy a piece of land and say, oh, I'm going to put, a nursing home here, or I'm going to put a 100-story building right here in front of a house with all these kids and park. People are not going to approve that, right? Because think about it. If you look at my videos, first thing everybody says is look at the traffic. Oh my God, you're going to build this building right here and, wherever. It's going to block out the sun. I'm not going to have my kids aren't going to go outside. The traffic's going to be crazy. How are we going to get on US 1? So there's a lot of components, man, and there's too many stakeholders. And then you're trying to get the deal done, and then you have investors you have to answer to. Then you have the bank you need to answer to. Then you have the elected officials you need to talk to, right? Because they need to also agree with the plan that you're going to submit, that it aligns with what the community is trying to do, right? So there's so many things, and the deal can die for almost anything, right? Somebody can come out there, a whole bunch of community neighbors, and say, "Oh, we don't want this," and then forget it. It may die. That project may die.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And a lot of people spend a lot of money by the time they get there.
Yeah.
So, but listen, how has do you see that you have made more money from creating content?
Made more money. I think the value that I made is connections and opportunities. I think that yes, I made more money, and it's because of the people that I've met. So I think social media creating content is definitely a great tool to meet people, and whoever is going to do business with you is going to look you up. Nobody cares about your website. Everyone's going to look at your social. and they want to see like more or less what's the integrity. If I'm going to invest with Oscar, Oscar's going to develop my 50-story building. I need to make sure that I need to know what's up with this guy. Yeah, he's going to bid. I like him. What substance does he have? You know, is he gonna
Who follows him?
Who follows him? Who follows him plays into it. You know, and then they'll see who follows you, and they'll be like, oh, this developer Juanito follows Oscar, and then they'll call and be like, hey, why do you follow Oscar? Like, what's up with this? Like,
Yeah.
and then at that point, if he knows you have the relationship, yeah, maybe not. So it all depends, man. It's so hard to gauge if you're gonna make money from that.
Yeah. How have you seen the market in the last 3 years?
The market in the last 3 years.
And if you don't want to say the last 3 more years, you can even say just currently.
I think right now currently it's a bit slow. I think projects that are already that have broken ground, they're gonna be finished and completed. But the issue we're having right now is high interest rates, construction costs, land acquisition's expensive. Everything's super expensive to build, and we have a lot of inventory that's coming online this year, going into later in 2025. And the biggest thing here is that inventory going to get absorbed quickly, right? Like, is there enough demand to meet the supply that's going to come online?
But I feel like we're asking the same questions that got asked in 2016 and 17, and like there was apartments in like Brickell that were completely empty, and then they essentially got full. Mm-hmm. Do you feel that? I feel that personally, I feel that Miami will always keep up with the hype. It's unless the United States economy or the global economy, you know, really takes a hit. I think it's very hard for Miami to take the hit. Do you feel that way?
Look, I think that we can't underestimate like a black swan event, something that you and I can't even think about, right? Like there could be so many things. A lot of people talk about the condo market, right? Like the legislation that got passed and all those condo owners that can't afford their condos, what's happening with that?
The assessments and all.
With the assessments, you know, there's things like that can drag down the economy. I know there's a lot of money on the sideline as well waiting. Like there's a lot of these projects that the developers will buy and maybe they'll wait a little bit. They'll say, you know what? It's at this current market condition, things are not penciling out. I'm just going to hold on this deal and let's just see how the market, you know, weathers. I think Miami long term, it's going to be. I'm bullish on Miami. I think we're still going to see a lot of people moving here, the migration. But I think right now there's going to be a test to see how does Miami perform the next year or two, right? So it's going to be interesting.
Do you think it's going to slow down right now though? Like
I think so. I think it's already slowing. Look, if you go and look on Zillow for rents, for example, and you see these older apartments, they're taking a long time to rent, and I'm actually seeing rents going down. So, yeah. So think about like this: like if you own one of these older condos, right? You have high assessments that are hitting you. You have right now more inventory coming online that's better. We have more amenities. Think about it. If I'm gonna rent, right? I want to live in a better area. So you can go rent in like Dayland, South Miami, Pinecrest, Coconut Grove, around the Gables area. They're giving like 2-3 months free rent. They're being very aggressive. They're saying no deposits down to move in. And how's Abuelita and the mom and pop shop gonna go and compete, right? Because now you got the big boys that are coming in here, and then now those people that own those condos, now they're facing crazy assessments. And think about it: during those COVID years, they were taking advantage of the market because of the flood of people coming in, right? So I saw condos and efficiencies in Kendall almost at $2,000. You know that is. That's crazy, and if people are making the majority of people are not making 6 figures, right? So, in order to survive in Miami, you need a household income of at least $200,000, and that's like if you have a mortgage and you have a car and you're kind of like just getting by. You're not like you're not killing it by any means because of how expensive things have gotten here. So, I think right now the consumer has already said, "Hey, like this is all we can do. Like we're not going to go much higher," and you don't have to even take my when I'm saying face value, go look yourself. Go on Zillow. There's listings right now in those areas that I'm talking about, in those older condos that are just sitting, and you're starting to see price drops. I've seen some that are going for 3 months. They're going on 3 months on the market. They haven't rented at all. So now you got all that pressure building up. It's going to be interesting to see how the market plays out. I don't think we're going to see a total collapse, but I think an adjustment is already on its way.
Yeah. So who do you think? So we have a lot of people that watch. We have maybe the person wants to rent. We have the person that maybe wants to buy. We have the person that wants to invest. We even have developers. We have people that want to, really, grow in, their net worth and all that. Who do you think's market is right now? From renter to potential buyer to maybe that buyer that wants to have like their low, like, you know, that wants to buy like that second property and rent their original one.
So who's this market tailored to, right?
Right
like
now.
right now, like who's this more? I think this is going to be more of like this is a renter's market, right? That's where I'm leaning more into, because think about it, if you buy in South Miami, if you buy in Kendall, you're looking at like 700,000, and that's like nothing crazy out of this world. Single family home.
You have to renovate.
You gotta renovate. It's outdated. It was in 2000. It was built 2005.
So somebody right now, they're in they're our age, you know, mid-30s. They've been saving up money. Do you think that person should maybe buy a house, or they should just maybe save a little bit of money and just rent momentarily?
So you run there's a double-edged sword to this, right? Like people think that we're gonna go back to 2000.
A lot of people think we're gonna go
Remember the lending practice right now. So there's a couple things, right? The lending practice is super tight. If you try to get a loan, they're asking you for everything. They're asking to make sure that you got all the funds. If you don't have the funds, they're not going to give you anything. They're very strict on lending. So that's number one. Number two, I think in order to go to like a 2008, we need to have some type of phony money floating around. That's not here. One thing that we're not taking into consideration is the difference between '08 to now. It's that we have the gig economy, right? So if somebody loses their job, what's the first thing that they're going to think about doing? They're Uber, Lyft, Postmates, some other online job that they can do quickly to fill in those gaps, which we didn't have that before. And then we have to take in consideration that during those pandemic years, a lot of people refinanced to a 3%, 2% mortgage, or they bought at those rates. They're pretty much insulated. Yeah, they purchased the home, you know, pretty high, but they can afford the monthly payment. So
because of the interest.
Because the interest rate, so they're locked in. So
Never thought about that. So think about somebody loses their job back in the day. They said they foreclosed their house, but now they can do anything.
They can do anything.
And that stabilizes the market so they don't foreclose.
In a way, yeah. Think about how many people come through Miami International Airport. I think we have like 50 million people annually that come through here. You know, they're going to need Uber. They want to go to Brickell. They want to go Airbnb. You know, there's so many ways to make money now, you know, and I think that we have to take that into consideration. It's one of the things that's going to keep the economy up where it's at right now.
Kind of like hidden, almost like it's kind of like, not fake, but it's part where it's like masking the real
issue
that we have.
Think about it, because now there's a lot of people that have a full-time job, and now they're doing Uber on the side, or they're doing three other things that they're trying to figure out how to survive, and it's tough. And then you have
it's really tough, man. The expenses are through the roof. For even me, I'm a business owner, and I feel that I'm telling my wife, and we're having conversations at the dinner table like, I don't think we should do that. You know, I don't think we can't afford that. Like, you would think me as a business owner, we've been in business for 9 years, that we can just say, yeah, let's just do that. And we're kind of like trying to live within our means because everything is so expensive, you know?
Yeah, think about it.
We have a kid, you know, my wife's pregnant, and we're thinking about, hey, maybe we buy a house. And we like, where are we going to go? Like, we can't buy a house. A business owner that's been in business for 9 years can buy the same house or better for around the same amount of money that they're going to sell their house.
What area are you thinking about?
I live right here on
West Miami. This whole little
like
area
South,
here.
you know, South Miami.
Red Road.
Yeah,
you're talking about like $1 million for something decent, you know. And then think about it. You got to put, for you to manage that payment comfortably, probably $500,000, right? And that's $500,000 down on $1 million with current rates and everything. It's probably like 5 G's still.
It's crazy.
6 G's, and I'm not talking about property tax.
No, just straight.
Like between everything. I mean, no, it's. Look, for anybody watching this doing the numbers, I'm just giving you a ballpark. It's probably like maybe 5,000, put $500,000 down. But it's expensive, bro. It's expensive. That's why we're seeing the consumer right now pulling back and saying, hey, I'd rather just rent right now.
Yeah. And they're so competitive. All right, so what do you think the developer is doing right now? You obviously you're going to all these deals and you're taking your selfies and all this. What do you think the developer has to pivot like anybody else? Do you see the developer pivoting, or do you think that they're kind of like doubling down on?
Look, I think it depends, right? Like if you're a developer that's over leveraged, then you need to make some hard decisions now before it gets worse. It really depends, right? I think to get these deals off the ground, like to get private funding, right? To get equity investors in these deals, it's a lot harder. Think about it. Interest rates on treasuries, right? Like the treasury rates are going at like 4%, 3 something. Some investors are just going to put their money there. Why are they going to take the risk? You know, so it's hard right now. People are still a little skeptical what's going to happen in the market. So these are things right now that people are waiting. Developers are trying to decide what they're going to do. If they have projects already, they're breaking ground, they're going to do it. But they're going to be more, cautious.
Why do you say that they have to do it? You keep mentioning that, like, hey, the project is ongoing. I know why they have to do it.
Yeah, if they already broke. I'm referencing if they already broke ground, right?
Well, they broke ground or they're about to break ground.
Yeah,
we have a lot of clients, right? Because I'll be honest with you, we're as busy as we've ever been in 9 years. Like, we're really, really busy, and we're a little bit behind you. We're like 3 years behind you, because if we're busy now, it's because you were super busy, like maybe like 2 years ago. Because by the time you bought the property and you found the architect and you developed and you got your permit, like, they're kind of like so vested in this opportunity, they have to start the job. They've already spent so much money, and I think that's where we are right now.
100, yes.
Where the client's like, we have to do this job, and then on top of that, they see kind of tariffs are going up. They feel like a little bit of uncertainty in the economy, and I feel like this is what I feel. I almost feel like they think like another COVID's kind of happening, and they kind of like, hey, let's give it to them. Like, almost like if they're almost betting on the job to lose, but they want to put all the risk on the contractor. They're like, hey, let them eat the tariff, let them eat the escalation, let them eat all this stuff, and they're under contract, and we'll find out what's going to happen in the next year. And that's the pressure that I feel that I'm under right now. Where should we take this job on? We don't know what's going to happen with tariffs. We don't know what's going to happen with material price escalation. We don't know what's going to happen with the economy. I think that I think it is a little bullish, especially in Miami. But we are having to make a business decision right now, because we don't think, or we don't know what the developer's thinking. So we can either say, hey, let's just walk away from this deal and let's wait to see what happens 8 months from now when things can maybe kind of stabilize, or we kind of go all in. So that's what keeps me up at night a little bit, to be honest with you.
So it's interesting, right? So I had this conversation with a few construction firms, and they're telling me that the way that they're preparing for COVID, or not COVID, I'm crazy, for the tariffs, for the tariffs, is that they're talking to their tradespeople, and they're trying to see if they, if they stock up on materials, on different items, so they can prepare, for whatever can come. But
how much, that's like, it's very temporary.
I don't think, honestly, when I've had these conversations with them, I tell them, look, I don't think whatever your tradesperson is telling you, I wouldn't even
that's
believe
almost irrelevant.
It's irrelevant, because who knows? Like, maybe they have the material and then it's gone.
So like today, we got awarded a project last night for a municipal project, and the city manager called me today. He says, hey, when do you want to start? And I told him, I need to start as soon as possible, like as ASAP, because we need to be able to start ordering everything. And I told him, this is what I think is going to happen. So it's in everyone's best interest that we start ordering the windows, we start ordering everything. And again, we don't know, but I'd rather not find out the hard way. I'd rather just be proactive about it and start ordering all these materials, because I think my mom said it a perfect way. She's like, have you ever cleaned your closet? When you take everything out of your closet, you make like a shit ton of a mess. That's kind of what we're in right now. It's a massive mess, but we're kind of, I feel, again, this is only my opinion. I don't, I'm just a general contractor here, but we're kind of like going through all the clothes. What still fits us? What do we like? What have we used? Changing like the pechero, we're making sure, and it takes time to reorganize things. And I feel like our economy, just obviously through this new administration, we kind of don't know what's going to happen with this closet right now.
Yeah.
And, obviously it freaks me out. That's why I wanted to have you on, to see what you thought, because I'm not the only one. We have, two people right here that want to buy a house. There's people in this office that want to buy a house, and people don't know, should I keep renting? Should I buy a house now? Should I buy this house and maybe refinance later? Is construction a good time to go into? Should I develop this property? I bought this. A lot of people have killed it. Like 2 or 3 years ago, they bought this house for $400,000. They sold it for $1 million. They have $500,000 in their bank. Should I invest in an investment property? People really don't know what's going to happen with the economy.
Yeah, it's tough, right? I think that we want to buy a house. We want to make that next step. It's just, it's so unaffordable. it doesn't make sense for you to go into debt for your life. If I think about it, you're not just paying for your housing costs, you're paying for your food, your lifestyle. You know, these things are getting really expensive. We can't even find eggs in the grocery store. So, you know, it's a reality that we're in right now, and affordability is going to be a major issue. I think Miami-Dade has to, I think they have to really double down on this issue. I think we need to see some innovation when it comes to construction, how materials are being made. Maybe there's some more innovative ways of how you can build homes. Maybe some ADUs, those are called accessory dwelling units. ADUs, yes. And basically, what that does is that if you have a single family home, you can probably build like 2 extra units on there, right? Maybe drive the cost of housing down. I don't know. Like there's so many ways that we can try to tackle this. It's just difficult. I want to ask you this question. So let's say the tariffs do happen, right? Like, and they pass. What do you think will happen to the overall real estate market?
The first thing that we're trying to do is we're trying to like protect ourselves as much as possible. So either, you know, in our contract, trying to have, you know, that we can absorb only a certain amount of escalation. So maybe we say, hey, 10%. Like we shouldn't have in a year more than 10% escalation. Anything like after that, it's something that it's like an act of God or something like what happened like COVID or what could happen right now. So protecting ourselves in the contract is super important. Another thing is trying to move and push the responsibility down to the different trade partners and suppliers. So trying to hold them accountable to their contracts, trying to, you know, push that responsibility downwards, the same way that the developer has pushed it down to us. What do I think is going to happen? I think that there's going to be a very sudden point in time that material prices are going to go up. I think that steel, lumber, a lot of these things that we use a lot, honestly, in our industry, I think are going to skyrocket. If we play it right, we can either buy it before or we can buy it after. I don't think that it's going to last forever. You know, the administration, and you know, it's no secret, you know, Trump is the president of the United States. His industry, what makes him money is our industry. You know, I find it very, very hard to believe that he will allow his industry to fail and his industry to go through this like major collapse and this major correction. I don't think that's going to happen. I think like even when Canada was saying that they were going to, you know, bring the 25% tariff, like the next week he opened a forest in the United States to start cutting down trees. So I think that there will be a correction, but if we play it right and we play it responsible, I think we'll be fine. I'll be very, very surprised if our industry takes a massive hit like it did in COVID, or at least a long-term hit. You know, we see like material prices, you know, push through unless we really, really need to order that material. Maybe we can postpone it. So what we're trying to do right now is just be as proactive as possible. But I think that there's going to be an immediate correction. I just don't know how long that correction is going to be.
Yeah, there's a lot of people saying that, look, if the tariffs hit, prices are going to go up, and then the consumer is going to have to pay that cost. But I think that's not going to happen. I think what would happen is if prices keep going up, right, the consumer's saying, okay, I'm not going to buy. Like, that's it. I'm not going to do anything. So
the problem is that we're the consumer. In our industry, we're the consumer. And we have to commit because we already under contract. So that's the issue, is that unless the owner is willing to play ball, the one that's going to get screwed is the contractor.
Somebody is going to have to bend the knee in this process, because at the end of the day, if you're building like a multifamily project and people don't want to rent it because in order to justify that development, rent have to be at a certain price point, and that mark in that area is not going to pay for it. It's just not going to make sense. So at some point, something's going to happen. Like think about for like these developments like Lennar homes, single family homes, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. There's only so much you can push people.
Yeah, but I feel like the consumer is not going to feel it unless, because if right now, from the month of let's say April to I don't know August, there is a massive increase in wood and steel and glass. All those projects are obviously they're all under contract. So either the general contractor pays for it, the subcontractor pays for it, or the supplier pays for it, or the developer helps pay for some of the things. No one really pays. The consumer is not going to pay for it unless it impacts the owner. If it doesn't impact the owner, the consumer will never feel the effect of that unless it's long term. How it affects is if it's long enough that the jobs that now we're estimating and the jobs that we're still like kind of pricing out
Go up in price.
go up in price.
Yeah.
And that's what I don't know. Because that would be an issue. And that's what happened at COVID.
Well, what I'm saying is, if you're gonna build a townhome in Florida City for $700,000, I don't see people who are gonna go buy it. Even
I don't think
you know what I'm saying. So the owner, yeah, they know what's going on. They have the pulse in the market. They'll know that these people can't buy it, especially if we're talking about rates at like 6.5%.
It's crazy.
You know, the only way that you mask that is if the rates drop to like back to like a 2%, right? Or even 1% to justify that. But even then, that's like crazy.
Yeah. I guess we'll find out.
I mean, yeah, we're gonna rock the wave. I don't know anything. You know, we're both guessing, right? We're shooting blanks, but you know, who knows? Maybe.
I think if we try to be as responsible as we can, learn from what we learned in COVID, and learn for what people, you know, what happened like in this 07, 08, and kind of just use all that information for now, I think we can be as protected as we can. And I don't think anybody wants this market to fail, especially our president. I think that there's a lot of money in our economy.
I agree with you.
All right, rapid fire. Here we go. Ready?
Yeah.
No, you want to drink some water?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, sure.
Go ahead, drink some water because you know I see you thirsty. All right, best restaurant in Miami.
Best restaurant in Miami. I actually went to this restaurant. It's brand new. I think it's brand new. It's in Wynwood called Otto y Pepe. I don't know. It's like an Italian place.
Good.
It's very good. I highly recommend you take your wife there. You know, she'll enjoy it.
Well, perfect. Number 2, what's your best date spot?
My best date spot. Home.
Have you gone on a date in a long time?
I want to stay home, man. Date spot? Anywhere, man. Like the Grove. I think we like the Grove. The Grove's a good spot.
The Grove came back. What's your favorite hobby?
My favorite hobby is like running. I like running.
You like running? Every day you run or no?
Nah, not every day. Nah. Every other day I'll go for a run. Depends, like on the schedule. The other day I was running around my neighborhood and some guy was like just driving, like almost hit me. I'm like, all right, like let me just chill out for a little bit.
Let me find a different hobby.
No, people get pissed, right? They start honking. I'm like, yo, what's wrong with you guys? But yeah, it's yeah. But I like running, yeah.
That's funny. What's your favorite sports team? And listen, by the way, don't get hit by a car, bro. If you get hit by a car, nobody's gonna know what's gonna happen in the real estate market. Favorite sports team?
I like the Heat. The Heat are good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What do you think happened with the whole Jimmy Butler thing?
I don't know, man. Money, ego, who knows, pride.
I feel like he went crazy.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe Pat Riley told him something he didn't like. You know, I don't know.
Late night snack. It's 11 o'clock. You just came from, what's the place in Wynwood called?
Otto y Pepe. That's an Italian pasta place.
So you went there, you went to have some pasta, and then you went to have some drinks. It's like midnight. You just got home and you're hungry. What are you going to order?
Mr. 01 pizza.
In the Grove. We're going back to the Grove.
In the Grove. Yeah. I love it. Or the one in Pinecrest that they have, it's phenomenal.
That's my favorite. That's my wife's favorite pizza. Favorite part about your job?
My favorite part is finding opportunities that people are not thinking about. The research part. I actually like the research part.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Favorite holiday?
Christmas. Probably Christmas. I like Christmas.
Christmas is expensive though.
Yeah. Maybe another holiday.
I love Christmas, but I wish Christmas wasn't so expensive and I wasn't all about the gifts. This is an important question here. What advice would you give to somebody that either wants to go into the real estate market or it's already in it? Like be it somebody that just took their test and graduated, or maybe somebody that wants to invest, somebody that's looking for a home, like somebody that's like in pursuit of what this market is. What advice would you give them?
They have to be persistent. The biggest advice is be persistent. You have to be disassociated. You can't be attached to the outcome. I think that's the biggest thing. I think in our industry, you're dealing with different deals. You may look at, hey, if I get this deal, is this going to work out? We get paid on commission. So that's number one. The business is already difficult. You're already dependent on so many variables. And I think for people coming into this business, it's your only expectation is how you perform, and don't get too caught up into the end result. It's going to happen regardless. The deal may die, and it's very common, but you got to keep your head down and keep pushing forward. And this business is about weathering the storm. You're not gonna become a millionaire on one deal. It's going to be a bunch of little deals that add up to maybe the big deal. And it's just being persistent, having your head down, and your network. You have to be networking. You have to be meeting people. You never know, that handshake could lead to another opportunity. And not being scared to put yourself out there. But the biggest thing is, don't get attached to the outcome. I think that's my biggest advice for anybody going into this business.
I think that's perfect. Well, today we had Bryan Gorrita, and he brought a lot of info on real estate, construction, our market. You know, at the end of the day, we can only think of what's going to happen. We're definitely no experts in it, but we're experts in our own market, which is construction and real estate, but nobody really knows what's going to happen. So we appreciate you guys tuning in. If you have any questions, you can ask him. You can follow him on his Instagram. You can follow us. We appreciate everything that you guys are always doing for us, your support for our platform, for our YouTube, for our Instagram. At the end of the day, what we're trying to do is bring our relationships that we know and just trying to educate and entertain you in any way we know how. And we'll catch you on the next one.